You've probably seen it on the label, high polyphenol olive oil. But what does that really mean? Is this stuff a genuine health game changer, or is it just some really clever marketing? Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that noise and find out. Which brings us to a pretty bold question right off the bat. Is your olive oil lying to you? Because, as we're about to see, the labels on the bottle, they don't always tell the whole story, especially when it comes to the compounds that actually matter for your health.
So here's the thing you have to understand. The mild, buttery olive oil that most of us have in our kitchen is a completely different product from the therapeutic oils backed by all the science. Seriously, one is a kitchen staple for cooking, the other is a potent nutraceutical, a daily supplement. And as you can see here, you can literally taste the difference.
So what is it that makes these oils so special? Let's dive into the science for a minute and decode these supermolecules that are at the very heart of this whole thing.
Okay, the heroes of our story are these things right here, polyphenols. To put it simply, they're these amazing bioactive compounds that come from the olive fruit itself, and they act as incredibly powerful antioxidants and anti-inflammatories in your body. This is the good stuff. This is what you're actually paying for.
And just look at the sheer scale of the difference here. Your average bottle from the supermarket, it might have 50 to 150 milligrams of polyphenols per kilogram. But a truly therapeutic oil, we're talking over 1,000. That is a 20 to 50 times difference in the concentration of the active compounds. It's a whole different league.
And polyphenols isn't just one single thing. It's more like a team of all-stars working together. You've got oleocanthal, which famously has an anti-inflammatory effect that's kind of like ibuprofen. There's oleacein, a powerhouse antioxidant. Hydroxytyrosol, which is incredibly easy for your body to use. And oleuropein, which gives the oil that signature bitter kick. They all play a crucial role.
Okay, so now we know what we're looking for. How in the world do we find it? This brings us to probably the most practical part of this whole explainer, how to spot a fake and navigate what can be a really, really misleading market.
Now this is absolutely crucial. You see terms like extra virgin or cold pressed, and they sound impressive, right? But here's the catch. They don't guarantee a high polyphenol content. A producer can put all that fancy language on the bottle, and the oil inside can still be super low in the good stuff. So how do you know you're getting the real deal? Here's your 4-point test. Number 1, demand a certificate from an accredited lab. The International Olive Council, or IOC, is the gold standard. The best reports will use a method called LC-MS. It's just the most precise way to measure these compounds. 2, trust your own taste. It has to have that peppery bitter kick. 3, look for an early harvest oil made from young green olives. And 4, and this is a big one, inspect the packaging. Why is packaging so important? Well, because polyphenols are fragile. They're super reactive, and they start to break down and lose their power the second they're exposed to oxygen. That means the moment you twist that cap open, a clock starts ticking. And believe me, that clock ticks fast. As this timeline shows, an oil that's at 100% potency on day 1 can be significantly compromised just a few weeks later. So the dose you think you're getting on day 21 is not the same potent dose you are getting on day 1, not even close.
Which brings us right back to packaging. A dark glass bottle? That's good. It protects from light, which is one enemy. But the absolute best option is single-dose packaging. It protects from both light and oxygen, guaranteeing that every single dose you take is just as potent as that lab certificate says it is.
All right, so we know what it is and we know how to find it. But why go through all this trouble? Let's get into the compelling, science-backed benefits that really make all this effort worthwhile.
Just look at this number. It's staggering. The massive Pre-to-Med trial, one of the largest nutrition studies ever done, found that a Mediterranean diet boosted with extra virgin olive oil was linked to about a 30% reduction in major cardiovascular events. In the world of nutrition research, that is a huge deal.
And the benefits just keep coming. The research points to strong cardiovascular protection, direct anti-inflammatory effects from that oleocanthal we talked about, some really fascinating neuroprotective effects related to clearing out proteins linked to Alzheimer's, and even big improvements in metabolic health by activating key longevity pathways.
And here's a concept that is so important to grasp. The oil isn't just a taxi carrying these polyphenols around, it's an active part of the delivery system. See, consuming these compounds within their natural oily home dramatically increases how well your body can absorb and use them, way more than if you just took them as an isolated pill or powder.
So, let's say you've done it. You found a legitimate high-potency oil. The next logical question is,
How much should you actually take? Let's get practical and talk about your daily dose.
This table makes it really simple. The key takeaway is this: the higher the concentration of polyphenols in your oil, the less oil you actually need to consume to get a therapeutic dose. For one of those ultra-high oils, over 1,000 milligrams per kilogram, just 1 teaspoon a day can be enough, and that makes it way more practical as a daily supplement.
So here we are. We've arrived at the final question. After all of this, is high polyphenol olive oil actually worth the effort? Not to mention the premium price tag. Let's lay out the verdict.
The answer is a resounding yes, but only if you get the real thing. So here's your final checklist to take with you. Demand that lab certificate showing over 1,000 milligrams per kilogram. Prioritize single-dose packaging for guaranteed potency. Expect that peppery, bitter taste. That's the taste of quality. And look for oils from specialist producers who live and breathe this stuff.
I want to leave you with this final thought. We've all heard the saying, "Let food be thy medicine." Well, if that's true, shouldn't we demand a prescription? For high polyphenol olive oil, that prescription is the certificate of analysis. It's the proof. It's what tells you that what you're taking actually has the power to work. It's all about moving beyond the marketing and demanding verifiable potency.